mùa xuân về quê xa, tình xuân tràn muôn lối, tiếng ca dâng tràn hạnh phúc trong yên bình, linh quang kỷ nguyên mới về. Tuổi thanh xuân sức sống dâng tràn, tình xuân xanh mãi xanh, tình thương thật bao dung, tình cha tình mẹ hành trình từ đây, tình thương yêu kết nối cội nguồn trong ta, tình thương yêu lớn trao cùng lan tỏa yêu thương thế giới hòa bình, lùi xa đau thương chiến tranh. Ngàn chiều chiều con tim tình yêu dự hồng, mở rộng vòng tay hồi sinh cho thế giới, cội nguồn trong ta hành tinh xanh ngã dài. Tình thương đây ân tình của cha, bao dung đây ân tình của mẹ, nâng cao trên hành trình tiến hóa, linh quang trí tuệ sáng ngời. Bảo sơn thiên tử xuất, bất chiến tự nhiên thành, lê dân đào bảo đoán, tứ hải lạc âu ca. Bảo sơn thiên tử xuất, bất chiến tự nhiên thành, lê dân đào bảo đoán, tứ hải lạc âu ca. Mùa xuân về quê xa, tình xuân tràn muôn lối, tiếng ca dâng tràn hạnh phúc trong yên bình, linh quang kỷ nguyên mới về. Trở về tuổi thanh xuân sức sống dâng tràn, tình xuân xanh mãi xanh, tình thương thật bao dung, tình cha tình mẹ hành trình từ đây, tình thương yêu kết nối cội nguồn trong ta, tình thương yêu lớn trao cùng lan tỏa yêu thương thế giới hòa bình, lùi xa đau thương chiến tranh. Ngàn chiều chiều con tim tình yêu dự hồng, mở rộng vòng tay hồi sinh cho thế giới, cội nguồn trong ta hành tinh xanh ngã dài. Tình thương đây ân tình của cha, bao dung đây ân tình của mẹ, nâng cao trên hành trình tiến hóa, linh quang trí tuệ sáng ngời. Bảo sơn thiên tử xuất, bất chiến tự nhiên thành, lê dân đào bảo đoán, tứ hải lạc âu ca. Bảo sơn thiên tử xuất, bất chiến tự nhiên thành, lê dân đào bảo đoán, tứ hải lạc âu ca. Lê dân đào bảo đoán,
Hello everyone, welcome to NLG Energy University live stream. This is Isabella Hai and I will be your level 1 NLG English instructor for today. So how is everyone going? And I hope that you can hear me nice and clear. I'll just quickly check the audio. Okay, so everything is set. So this is the live stream link to NLG level 1 English class. And if you're here for level 1 English, then you know that you're in the right place. But before we start, we will receive healing energy from Mr. Lee according to the daily healing transmission schedule. So what will happen is in a few minutes, I will come I will play the demonstration video on how to receive healing energy. And then we will welcome Mr. Lee on our live stream. He will transmit healing energy to everyone. And then we will use this link to start level 1 in English straight away to save some time, and you won't have to navigate for the link again. So for Mr. Lee's daily healing transmission, everyone know that we can all receive it. It doesn't matter if you're in level 1, 2, 3, or 4, or if you haven't attended any class before today, you can still come in and receive this healing energy from him. So receiving this healing energy is particularly good for those who will start level 1 today, as this energy will refresh and enlighten your mind. So we're off to a really great start. And then when our level 1 English class start, it is strictly for those who haven't participated in energy before and would like to start with level 1 now, or those of you who have already completed level 1 before and you're still here at level 1 and you would like to retake this class. So you can also come in and join us. For those of you who are in level 2, 3, and 4, if you would like to tune in to the level 1's content, then that's okay as well. But remember that you don't receive the energy activation from me during this class because this is strictly for level 1. Okay, so now I will play the demonstration video for you before we receive energy from Mr. Lee.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our NLG live stream. Mr. Lee would like to send the NLG energy to our beloved audience. When he says start, please look into the middle of his forehead and imagine you are receiving energy into your forehead. Just relax and let this loving energy absorb through your body for 5 minutes and 30 seconds until Mr. Lee says done.
Trong sự kiện hợp nhất tình thương kiến tạo hạnh phúc của Energy, mời quý cô bác anh chị cùng đón nhận những năng lượng an lành từ chú Phúc. Khi chú Phúc nói bắt đầu, quý cô bác anh chị nhìn vào trán của chú Phúc, hình dung nhận năng lượng từ trán của chú vào trán của quý cô bác anh chị và để năng lượng tự lan tỏa cho đến khi chú Phúc thông báo hết giờ.
Good evening from Orange County, California. Welcome to the daily live stream. Today is the first time the program is broadcast in English on YouTube and Facebook. Welcome all brothers and sisters to the English program that is broadcast for the first time from today. Okay, so Lee, get ready for yourself to receiving the energy. Xin kính chào tất cả cô bác anh chị em. Hôm nay là ngày đầu tiên chương trình Energy Global được phát sóng bằng Anh ngữ và chú vẫn tiếp tục hỗ trợ anh chị em trên cái đường link này. Và bây giờ chú xin mời tất cả các bạn cùng đón nhận phần năng lượng hỗ trợ chữa lành. All right, so we begin now. Okay, now we finish. Back to Isabella, your instructor level 1 today. Bye-bye, see you again.
Okay, so I think our live stream it's back on. I'm just checking the audio and the video here to see whether everything is okay. Yep, and we are set to go. Okay, everyone. So welcome to NLG Level 1 English class. This is day 1 of Level 1. And throughout this live stream, please let me know if the audio it's okay, as well as the video. And before our class starts, I'd like to point out that we really appreciate it if everyone can register before you come into this class, because we are live on YouTube and Facebook. So of course, everyone can join us. But if you're interested, please make sure that you register. It's great to help us find out who's attending and who's showing interest in our program. And don't forget to like and follow our Facebook page, NLG Energy University. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which go under the same name, NLG Energy University. And later on, I will show you the Telegram QR code for you to join your level 1 class after you complete day 1 of level 1. Okay, so some basic information about level 1 is that it consists of 2 sessions. So it will be today and tomorrow. And you are required to complete both sessions to be considered fully finished level 1. So I'll do a little self-introduction if anyone's here is not familiar with me. My name is Isabella Hai and I am Vietnamese, but I used to study in Australia for about 9 years, hence the accent. I started with NLG as a practitioner, like many of you here, taking level 1, and that was from the end of 2021. Up until now, I am a level 4 DNA practitioner, and I will be your level 1 and 2 English instructor for today. I will help to activate your brain frequency as well as your stem cells to match with your current NLG energy level. And you can certainly address me by my first name. Just call me Isabella, that's okay. So if you are new here, then welcome. If you're already in level 1 and you're just here to revise, you're here to receive the activation again, that is great. This class is strictly for level 1 participant only. So if you are in level 2, 3, and 4, and if you would like to tune in to the content, then that's also great, but please don't receive the energy activations because it is strictly for level 1 participants. And you should stay at the class level that you've been activated. Okay. Now, you may have heard of NLG, and that's why you're here. The person who introduces you to NLG may have shared with you a few things about NLG, I suppose, but please allow me to share with you some more basic information of this method. So NLG is a practical method that benefits you in many aspects, such as your health, which you may feel some improvements or differences as you participate throughout the class. Other than that, you can apply energy to many fields of life. And currently, NLG has 5 class levels from level 1 all the way to level 5. Okay, sorry, I'll just fix my video just a little bit so everyone can see me better. Okay, I think that's better. Sorry about that. Now, in order for you to proceed to the next class, you have to fully complete the previous class, of course. For example, if you want to participate in level 2, then you must complete level 1, which consists of 2 sessions. Level 2 then consists of 1 session, and then as you get higher, the number of sessions increases. So level 3 consists of 3 sessions, level 4 consists of 5 sessions, and level 5 consists of 13 sessions. And generally, level 1 and 2 can be completed online, much like what we're doing now, whereas level 3, 4, 5 are generally completed in person. There's been occasions where level 3 can be done online as well, and that is only valid when such information is specified in our class announcements. If you've noticed, if you come in a few days earlier, you would know that we recently just have level 3 online. Okay, so of course, when it is an online or if it's an offline class, we will inform you very clearly in our announcements. And so that's why it is really important to follow us on Facebook and YouTube, as well as our Telegram group, so that you can be updated with the latest information. Now then, so other than these 5 class levels, level 1 to level 5, there are also 3 very special programs for you to join if later on you're interested. So the first program is to apply energy to agriculture, forestry, and fishery. Now, this will benefit certainly farmers and beyond, those who work in these areas, those who want to make a profit out of these sorts of products to increase productivity while minimize the use of chemical substances. And then the second program is applying energy to assist couple with infertility concerns. So for them to be able to have babies that are healthy and intelligent. Now, both of these programs require participants to have fully completed level 3 or above. And in particular, the second program, which is about helping couples, require both partners to participate so that we can maximize the potential outcomes. And then the last program that we currently have is Energy Instructor Training Program, which is closely selected by Mr. Lei himself in order to participate in that program. And you are required to complete level 4 or above to join that program. In terms of just a couple of notes, before we start, is that NLG, as I've said, NLG is a practical method, meaning that you should practice it every day with quality and consistency. It can be very beneficial for your health. However, NLG is not an alternative treatment or should not replace your current medical treatments. So if you have a condition, you should continue with your treatment plan as consulted with your doctors, and you can practice NLG alongside as a separate thing. Now, as you practice NLG, if you feel any difference or if you feel any improvement, you can inform your doctors about that so that they can adjust if needed and provide you with the most appropriate treatment plans. And please do not change your treatment plans by yourself. Always consult with your doctors, and just note that NLG, it's not an alternative treatment. It's also really important to, as I've said, follow our Facebook page, YouTube channel, and website very closely, because important information such as classes, whether there's an attendance fees or dates for specific classes, etc., are all written very clearly in our announcement. And I feel the need to emphasize this because unfortunately there are people who are trying to take advantage of one another. So just note that NLG will never message you directly asking for you to pay a fee of any sort. If anyone approaches you regarding this matter, then chances are they are scammers. So the best way to double check is just to follow and contact us via our official pages if you have any inquiry. And we are a not-for-profit organization, so just note that. And NLG, it's not a political or religious method. So be very careful when you share information about NLG so that other people can have a better and more precise understanding of it. Also, as you participate in these classes, level 1 and 2, the majority of people have experienced various degree of health improvements. So as you get higher to level 3, 4, possibly 5, Mr. Lee will share with you more about other projects that NLG can support. Now, just some basic information again about our founder, Mr. Lee. So NLG founder is Mr. Phuc Lê, and his full name is Lê Văn Phúc. He was born in Bien Hoa Province, which is now Dong Nai Province of Vietnam. At the age of 22, he joined his family and moved to the United States, and then encounter a great chance to learn from a very special teacher, a divine figure, and who taught him about NLG. So he applied NLG to himself. After obtaining really amazing outcome, he then shared it with other people. And at the start of 2020, he went to Vietnam, and together with NLG volunteers, he put together many NLG classes. In 2021, he returned to America, but he continued to open many classes online and offline. Although he has been teaching this method to many people, he wishes that no one addresses him as teacher or master. He's simply just Mr. Lê, or in Vietnamese people normally just address him as Uncle Phuc, much like a family member. So similar for other NLG instructor, for example, like myself, you can just address me by my first name, Isabella. Okay, so before we share with you the class content, I do have here some class recommendation that I would like to share with you. I'll just share my screen here so everyone can see. Okay, sorry everyone. Okay, I hope that you can see this share screen now. So some class recommendations before we start. Please arrange to attend the course on time to receive the activation fully. Being on time also shows respect for the instructor and everyone in the class. Also, it will help avoid network congestion when too many people decide to join at the same time. And choose your study space. Please set up your study space in a quiet place away from distraction during the activation and practice session. Copyright NLG content without our permission is prohibited. Please do not record or distribute our video lecture online without our consent. All online courses will be recorded for tracking purposes on our NLG platform. You can attend our course by phone, laptop, iPad, etc. Ensure you check your device before attending our online classes, internet connection, battery usage, audio quality, etc. We will have time for participants to ask questions about the course, formula, and practice recommendations. Please save your question until the end of the session. Some more notes is that the original energy source, NLG, which stands for Năng Lượng Gốc in Vietnamese, method, it's provided by the NLG Energy Source University to support anyone seeking assistance from NLG. NLG online courses are completely free. NLG techniques and information, it's for educational purposes only and cannot be substituted for the advice or care of a medical professional. It does not replace doctor's diagnosis and medical treatment. We recommend that participants consult a doctor before undertaking alternative health improving methods. We will not accept any liability or warranty or not be responsible to any individual if you do not see any improvements. NLG participants are responsible for their current state of health and will need to monitor their progress. NLG participants need to have self-awareness and follow the instructions and formulas to achieve desired outcomes. Okay, so those are some of the class recommendations that I would like to share with you. And now we will start with our class by sharing with you our logo and talk a little bit about these logo. Okay. I hope that everyone can see nice and clear. All right, so these three logos in sequence, we have on the left-hand side, the Cosmic Divide Light logo. In the middle is the Wisdom Energy University. And then on the right-hand side is the Warm Loving Home logo. And these are the three logos of NLG. So in this sequence, they were introduced to us in April 23rd, 2023, which is also the grand opening of NLG Center in California. So on that day, Mr. Lei was able to unlock the third code, which results in the perfect circle at the center of the Cosmic Divide Light logo, representing cosmic light that embraces all being. So if you've been following us, you will notice the differences throughout the different periods. And this first logo started off as a chống đồng, in other words, bronze drum, a concept that you will be familiar with if you've been listening to the previous level 1. And in level 3, probably Mr. Lei will explain a little bit more about this. Then it changes to Cosmic Divide Light. And that's a term that we coined, but initially it was slightly different in the middle. And now in this latest version, there's only light in the middle, as you can see here, this first logo. And what it does is it's supposed to light up and support the Warm Loving Home logo on the right here, as you can see on the screen. So what we call Warm Loving Home logo, it portraits a family with parents and children. All of them have very close connection with one another, and it represents genuine love. There are 13 heartbeats contained within this logo, as you can see at the bottom here. And it represents 12 months in a year, and the 13th heartbeats indicates humanity's energy connection to what we call the outer space civilization. And we need the key to lead us there, of course, which we will talk about in more details in a few minutes. And then in the middle, we have NLG, Energy University logo, which represents wisdom. Previously, we spent the majority of time working on our health. And logically, once we have experienced improvements, then the next step is to work on our wisdom to enable further tasks. And now let's go through the class content, and these will be shared between level 1 and 2. Level 2 would be, in terms of the content, would be quite similar. We will talk a little bit more in depth, but what's truly different is the energy frequency that you will be activated. Okay, so these will be our class content for level 1 and 2. And it's said here that NLG Cosmic Divide Light enhance humanity life to a higher level. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about. And then we'll get activated with the relevant energy frequency for you to apply it into all fields of life. So we would. So of course, we'll talk about energy source. We already, mentioned our energy founder. Then we'll talk about the benefits of energy. We will certainly go through activations and practice energy formulas together for you to have some initial experience of how to navigate the formulas when you're on your own. We'll also talk about energy development, energy as the energy source that we receive energy from the universe every day without knowing it. We'll talk about that. And we'll also talk about receiving this energy, which makes an impact on our health and our life. So the cosmic divide light, what we know about it from this method is that it will bring its benefits that are beyond our imagination. And the cosmic divide light is the logo that you can actually see behind me there, the yellow one. And things that perhaps we haven't been mindful of. So it's necessary to learn to solve the problem that we're dealing with. Contained within this really great resource is wisdom energy. So probably the two questions that you would like to ask as you come in, and probably you're new here. Some people would, ask, which I will briefly answer at this foundation level. But the first question is that how can we make sense of the outer space civilization, a term that I said just now? And how does this energy source, where does this energy source come from? So at this foundation level, we will give you a pretty simple explanation to prepare you while not to overwhelm you when you proceed to a high class levels. So the outer space civilization, visualize that it comes from a country that is so advanced, that is very far away from us, where the beings who live there exist with a very sophisticated form of wisdom, technology, science, virtues, etc. Everything about them is more advanced compared to us, and they have more than enough resources to support us. And at this level, I will leave it at that. And in terms of this energy source that we call energy, it has existed for a very long time, and it has been woven into our lives long, long ago. But which frequency of this energy can we use? That is the question, isn't it? Because they have different levels, they have different frequency that are equivalent, I guess you can imagine, in academic setting, that to primary school level, high school level, university level, graduate, etc. So let's visualize that it has different levels that way. So whichever frequency that you can approach, that's a complete, I guess, blessing for yourself, your community, and your country. And we approach this valuable energy to utilize it better, and to gain more effective knowledge to apply to our lives to help solve the to help solve the three problems that we're now dealing with. And since we talk about the three problems for humanity, I'll share with you screen here. Okay. Now, so on the screen you see, and you can look around you, you can get yourself posted with news and what is going on around the world. And we know that we're dealing with mostly dealing with these three problems. So wars, conflict, poverty, hunger, illness, and diseases. And I guess before we're trying to find a solution for these problems, but the outcome has been quite limiting, and we keep going in circles. But if we learn energy together, you practice together as a community, hopefully we'll gradually solve these issues and increase the success rates when you approach very similar issues. And of course, how we do that, we will get there. But now I would like to, talk about the process. Okay, and you may think that these issues have nothing to do with you, but we encourage you to look at this from a more personal perspective. That is, when we talk about illnesses and diseases, that's something that very unfortunately many of you have dealt with or are dealing with, or you know someone that you're very close with who suffer from an illness, and you're trying to find a way to cope, to help them. And that's pretty straightforward. So whether it's a disease that has been affecting the world, or a disease that has been affecting you or your loved ones, then that is certainly something that we would like to tackle with. Now, secondly, when we talk about wars and conflicts, we also look at it from a more personal perspective, specifically in terms of conflicts. For example, it could be within your family. When, for example, you say that you're happy with your family, but deep down you're not, and the happiness that you experience is solely from surface level, and there's no real connection between each family member. Or it could be a situation at work where your ideas clash with that of a colleague. So conflicts happen around us all the time and in many different forms. Then the third problem, which is poverty and hunger, from a more personal perspective, I guess it's about difficulties in earning money to satisfy basic needs, to feed your family, to ensure stable source of income, which is unfortunately still an ongoing problem for many families around the world. We still see a lot of homeless people on the street, a lot of people who are suffering in many different ways because of poverty and hunger, even in very developed countries. So how do we go about solving these issues? You also look at the slide here where it said we need to have moral values and the 5 forms of love. Now, this is really important because these are the key to NLG. So when we say moral values, this is something that you need to maintain. This is something that you really need to prioritize. Because when a person is born, they're like a blank canvas, okay? And we already know about moral values, but why do some people still do things to hurt others that don't reflect these moral values? Well, it seems that they've changed from their nature, and some argue that it's because of environmental factors. But the point is that when their priority of virtue changes, hence their behaviors. And that's why we recommend that you keep moral values at heart and you prioritize it in all that you do. And then we also have something that we call the 5 forms of love. Now, before you come into energy, it doesn't matter what you've done, whether you've shown love to others or not, whether you were perhaps at some point being very mean, very angry to other people. But once you come into energy, you are encouraged to change those behaviors. And if you've already practiced love, then that's fine. You can refine it, I suppose, when you come into energy. But if you haven't shown love in proper ways, then you need to try harder once you're in here. Because at energy, we don't judge you for what you've done. What matters is how you're going to move forward from now on. And at this level 1, it's important to recognize the key to NLG. And the key, as I've just told you, is it's morality and 5 forms of love. Because they helps you to achieve your goal much better when you come into energy. And I will explain the relationship between love, morality, and the frequency that we need to utilize this energy source later. But it's about building a really good foundation of knowledge. And don't underestimate this beginner level because it's absolutely necessary. Much like when you want to build a house, you need a really strong foundation. So I want to guide you through this. And the first thing to keep in mind is that from now on, now that you're in class, you started with energy level 1, the theme to have is morality and the 5 forms of love. Okay, so here it is, the 5 forms of love. So the 5 forms of love is it here. Number 1, it's self-love. Number 2 is love for family. Number 3 is love for country. Number 4 is love for humankind. And number 5, love for all living things. Now, these 5 forms of love are in this sequence, meaning that you should go from the first to the second to the third, so on and so forth. And many of you may ask, how come self-love is the first thing that we need to refine? Shouldn't it be the last one? Shouldn't we put ourselves last and put others before us? But let me ask you this, how would you support other people if you're not all right? When your body and your mind don't feel well, you're not you, how do you go about supporting other people? For example, in the case of a wife, let's say, who wants to put her family first, and she wants to take good care of her children and take good care of her husband. But if she doesn't take care of herself, then how does she possibly in a state that is fit to do what she wishes to do? She'll probably end up needing other people to take care of her, which is completely the opposite of her goal. So your body becomes sick because you don't take care of it in proper ways. And perhaps it happens when we don't love ourselves in the right way, where it could be that you do take care of yourself and you do take care of others, but not consistently. So when you're happy, you take good care of yourself, but when you're not happy, you start to neglect a lot of things, and that's the things that happen to a lot of us. So that's why self-love needs to be consistent. It's good if you have been, taking care of yourself, but it has to be consistent. Because when you have good energy within your body and your mind, you'll be in a better state to achieve what you want. And in level 1, we suggest that you work on the first 2 forms, which are self-love and love for family first. And then in level 2, you'll continue to work on the next one, which is love for country. And then from level 3 onwards, your goal will be the last 2 forms, while you maintain the others, of course. If you've already practiced these forms of love before you come into energy, then that is great. Try to elevate it to a higher level. So we've talked about self-love. Now we talk about love for family. So other than having a healthy diet, a really balanced diet, and you take care of yourself, you also need composure. You need to balance your mind, put yourself in what we call the +1 -1 frequency, very much like our heart rate resting at 60 to 80 beats per minute. That is, you're in a very calm state. You can connect and receive energy more effectively when you're in this +1 -1 frequency. We'll talk a little bit about that later. And this energy will then support the cells in your body, which is as necessary as keeping your belly full every day, or the air that we breathe, the water to keep ourselves hydrated. So cells without energy is like us without oxygen and water, and we won't be able to survive. So once you understand the importance of energy for the cells in our body, you will voluntarily prioritize and maximize the practice of energy, because energy helps to nourish these cells when you practice daily. And after you finish level 1, you will have formulas to heal your family as well. Additionally, you will learn to connect to your family in better ways. So this is where love for family comes in through the lens of energy. If you already feel happy at home, that is great. But for many people, if you feel like home, it's not really home, but it's merely a place that you lived in, that you go back to at the end of each day, and there's no warmth, there's no real meaning to be with your loved ones, then that is certainly something to work on. And the point is to regulate yourself without asking other people to change themselves. So it's about us. It's about us working towards ourselves, within ourselves, which will inspire other good things to come. Because we often, talk about laws of karma and what goes around comes around, whether you like it or not, whether you believe in it or not. That's one of the laws of the universe that we cannot change or affect. And when you sit down and think about it, you will see, things start to match together. And if you want to have good things, you want to meet good people, to have really good opportunities, then what do? I hope that now that we've talked about love and morality, that that things you need to do is to show kindness first to others. You start with yourself, right? And you then support your family because they're closest to you. And there's a really interesting connection between people in a family, and Mr. Lee will go into a lot more details in higher class level. So you do need to do well first, and you need to know how to love your family before you learn how to love other people in our community. And as you plant the seed of good values, then you get to enjoy it later when it grows into these massive trees full of goodness. And only when you're a good person that you can attract good people and good opportunities, because like attracts like. Let's say if you want an apple because you enjoy the sweetness of it, but then you go and plant a lemon tree, then that wouldn't work. And sometimes we interpret things that we do to others as insignificant. And we, instead of doing self-love, we're being selfish. But remember that what goes around comes around, and perhaps you have to deal with a lot more consequences than you think. And when we talk about the outer space civilization, who will be guiding us on this journey, that is giving us this energy source, they're very precise, they're very fair. And so that's why Mr. Lee often say that we cannot cheat, we cannot get away with the things that we do. So when you say that, so whatever you say, whatever you do, or whatever you decide on, for the most part, it's totally up to you, meaning that it is a choice that you should be careful and you should consider before doing, because there are consequences that you'll be responsible for accordingly, including, and most importantly, karmic consequences. For example, you can't control whether it's a rainy or whether it's a sunny day. That's something that happens. You can't control that. And that's like many other things around you. So when that happens, what would you do? Right, let's say it's a rainy day and you're supposed to go out. So how do you make the most out of that experience? Because what you can change is your perspective, your thoughts, your behavior, right? So instead of sitting around and complain about how it's rainy today, you can probably find a way to enjoy the day regardless. So when you're faced with something that is out of your control, what you can change is your perspective, your attitude about the situation, the ways that you look at things. And if you're upset, then the entire experience will be filled with that. And that's just depressing. So ask yourself, when your emotion gets the better of you, is that self-love? If you let yourself angry and upset to the point where you think about it all day, your mind is occupied by that one thought that upsets you for the whole day, is that self-love? And will you be able to make the right choice when you're overly emotional like that? And if you're overly emotional too often, then how would that affect your life? So that's something that I would like to invite you to consider. Okay. And I mentioned the +1 -1 frequency just now. So we talk about that a little bit in more details. So what we call the +1 -1 frequency of an NLG participant is the same as that of the creator's love. Our Creator continuously transmit this loving energy. To receive this energy, you'll need to have enough wisdom to understand the three ends. So neither bad nor good, neither happy nor sad, neither love nor hatred. And it all depends on your way of looking at things, as I've explained just now. Leave your personal preferences and personal emotion to embark on the soul journey of love. So the +1-1 frequency is essentially, I guess you can call it, the favorite frequency for the cells in our body, because the cells get to connect and receive energy source from outer space, civilization, when we regulate ourselves to be in this frequency. And that's also when you can practice most effectively. So if you are not in the +1-1 frequency, and let's say you've already taken class, an energy class that is, and you sit there, you practice the formula for 5 minutes and 30 seconds as instructed, still you won't get 100% of the energy that you need, because your connection, in other words, your frequency, it's far from that of the +1-1 frequency. And it could be a completely different number. Okay, so the +1-1 frequency, it's what we need to connect to this energy source that we propose, that it can help you to flourish in life. And it has helped a lot of people around the world. So the +1-1 frequency is a concept formed by our flows of thoughts, from our self-regulation. And it's something that you can create for yourself. You can put yourself in a state, based on the practice of the 5 forms of love and morals, values. And we're all capable of doing that. So in order to have the +1-1 frequency, you need to do things, say things, basically live your life in a loving and moral ways. And so that's when you get connected to this energy source that enables great things to come. And, you know, for the most part, for a lot of people, it's just miracles. So it is not to say that we can't be upset or that we are banned from, feeling sad or anything like that. It's not that. We can be upset, we can be happy, we can be excited. Because emotions are part of us. But it's how we deal with these emotions. Let's say before, when you're upset at something, you can be very upset for days and days and days without any solutions. But now that you learn NLG, you understand the benefits of being in the +1-1 frequency. And the benefits of this energy when you are connected via the +1-1 frequency. That is to regulate yourself, to be in the right frequency to connect. Okay, so it's a complete circle. And for that, you'll learn to maintain your composure more effectively. You'll be more willing to remain calm, more willing to let go of negative things, because you realize that it's more valuable for you to be in a frequency to get connected rather than being upset with other people. So when you're angry, when you're depressed, that's also not great for your body, meaning that you're not considerate of yourself, of the cells in your body, which breaches the very first forms of love, isn't it? Which is self-love. So think about that again and try to really relate the concepts, the things that I'm sharing with you, back to one another. So let's think about this, right? In a day, other than when you're asleep, how many hours can you maintain yourself in the +1-1 frequency? For example, you're here in class, you're here level 1 English class. Are there any reason for you to be upset or angry? Because sometimes we unfortunately have technical issues, or the audio, it's not very good, or what we're sharing with you clashes with what you know, right? So when that happens, how do you feel? And how would you react? Would you be able to maintain the +1 -1 frequency? Because I reckon that's one of the most realistic and relevant example for everyone here. And that's when your responses count. That's when it's matter. Because when there's nothing in the way, of course you're going to be fine. And you would say that you're fine and you feel fine because there's nothing in the way to trigger you. But when there are obstacles, when there's things that you have to deal with, when something unexpected happens, then your reaction is what counts. It matters in those moments. So when you see someone being very mean to other people, take that lessons and don't repeat it. You observe it. You've already learned the lesson. You see how people are put into very difficult situations. Try to empathize and don't repeat that. Don't put yourself in that situation. Don't put other people in that situation, because it's simply not a kind thing to do. And do not normalize it. Don't say, well, because that person does this, so, he deserves it, or, it justifies as to why I respond in the manner that I do. Don't normalize that. And try to put love and morality in everything that you do. When you want to give feedback, for example, do it positively without hurting other people's feeling and make them feel less than. Okay, so those are some of the examples that I can give you. And these examples are basically the things that are happening in our day-to-day life. It's not something fancy at all. It's something that we deal with on a daily basis. So try to really consider your choice of words, your choice of actions, and embrace this learning of love and morality, which many of you have this, but perhaps this is just a reminder for you to practice it. Okay, now we're talking about the egg and the chicken here, which is really a comparison because we know that the incubation period for a chicken egg is around 21 days. Same thing for when you practice NLG. As I mentioned earlier, NLG is a practical method. And it requires you to get to a certain point in your practice to feel the changes, to feel the difference. For many of you, this is when you are activated. So many of you would feel quite different when you're activated. Some of you may feel the differences after you have been practicing for a number of days. And just like this comparison here, if the mother hen doesn't give her full 21 days to the egg, then the egg cannot hatch into a chick. And that points to the consistency of your practice. And it should be done on a daily basis. So you would practice based on how the formulas instruct you to do so. And you should practice accurately, adequately, and consistently. Those are the three requirements that we often talk about in NLG. That is, it has to be accurate. Please do not change any parts of the formulas that we will provide you with. And it has to be adequate in terms of the practice duration. We set the time in very specific circumstances. So it's important to go through the notes, and it has to be consistent. So let's say if it's the same as when you learn something else, is that if you don't put in the work, if you're not being consistent with your practice, then you won't get to where you need to be. And for example, when you read the formulas, and if it's instruct you, for example, to open your eyes while you practice, that is one of the notes there, please do so. And if it tells you to practice for 5 minutes and 30 seconds, please do that. Because the formulas that we share with you have been practiced by many NLG practitioners before, and they've achieved really amazing outcomes. So these formulas have been carefully written and standardized according to the method of NLG by Mr. Lay. And If someone asks me, why is it that it's 5 minutes and 30 seconds? Well, that's the set time that our energy founder, Mr. Lei, have studied and decided on. It's like asking, why does this phone operate on iOS while the other operates on Android? Well, that is just how they are programmed. Okay. All right, and I will talk a little bit more about these comparison. Now, when you practice the formulas, so what happened is we will introduce you to this energy method, and I have been sharing some information with you, and hopefully this is just for foundation level, so we will touch on a lot more as we go. But now that you have basically the theory, then what we'll do is we will activate you. And so the most valuable things about these sessions is that you get activated. So you might ask, okay, so you've been talking about energy, you've been talking about how to get there, but how do we actually get there? So what happened is I will help to activate your brain cells. So here, day 1 of level 1, we will do brain cells activation. Okay, and that is a techniques that I, as the instructor, will help to activate your brain cells. And this is according to the method of energy. We're not talking about other type of method. We're solely talking about the method of energy here. So that is how it is done. So after you get activated, then we will practice a formula together to get you started, just so you can feel that initial warmth, or, you know, for some people it's not warmth, but it's sort of feeling quite tense in the forehead, or just some differences in their body. So a lot of that happened. And we'll go through that together. And that will be, I guess, one of the parts that people will be very interested in. And then that will be that for today's class. And then tomorrow we will go deeper and there will be another activation. Remember that I say that level 1 consists of 2 sessions. That means that there are 2 activations. So we'll do 1 activation today, and then we'll do 1 activation tomorrow. And the one for tomorrow is completely different from today. So it is highly recommended that you don't miss out on any of these sessions. Okay, so now we will start, you know, now that we talk about love, morality, we've talked about the +1 -1 frequency. You know that you need to have the +1 -1 frequency to connect to this energy source. And that derive from, you know, practicing love and moral values. Okay, so you need love, moral values, the +1 -1 frequency, and those need to be maintained and upgraded as you go. So level 1 will be completely different from level 2 in the sense that you still need those 3 things, but you need to upgrade those as you go to high class level to match with the energy frequency that you will be activated. Okay, so I will now share with you these demonstration, because we are about to receive the brain cells activation. I'll just have a look at the number of people watching. Okay. So this is level 1, brain cells activation. And what you would do, I'll show you the demonstration right now, so that we're all clear in terms of what we need to do. Okay, so this is the demonstration here. This is how you would visualize energy coming in during the brain cells activation. So what happened is you will look at my forehead Okay, and you will visualize energy going from my forehead into your brain continuously, like how it is demonstrated here in this video until I tell you that time it's up. Okay, so you will continuously sending energy. Just watch this one more time. Okay. So this demonstrates that you receiving energy, okay? But when you do that, please do not visualize this person. You need to visualize yourself receiving the energy. Okay. So I hope that everyone is clear on that. So once again, I'll just repeat it. So you look at my forehead, you visualize energy going from my forehead into your brain continuously, like how it was demonstrated in that video that I just showed you, until I tell you that time it's up. Now the activation will be 1 minute and 30 seconds. I will set a timer, so you don't need to do that. And this is brain cells activation for level 1 participants only. It means that those in higher class levels, if you're here just to listen to the content, then please do not receive this activation. Okay, this is strictly for level 1. Okay, so I will now set a timer for 1 minute and 30 seconds. So everyone is clear on how to receive the brain cells activation, I suppose. Okay, as demonstrated in that video there. Okay, so let's start now, everyone. I have my timer right here, so let's start. And we will begin now. Okay, and we have finished the level 1 brain cells activation for 1 minute and 30 seconds. And now we will practice this together, okay? We'll practice these formula. I will show you now. I'll share it on the screen here so everyone can see. And we will only practice this formula today prior to day 2 of level 1. So once you get started with day 2, which is tomorrow, we will no longer practice this formula. So I would like to spend some time to practice the formula with you today. And then after this class, you can continue to practice this formula that I'm about to show you anywhere from 1 to 3 times. So really try to maximize your experience of practicing formulas. Okay, I'll share with you these formula here. All right. So this is your first formula that you will get. Now with this formula, when you go home, sorry, you're still home, I guess, but now that you're in class, but after this class, you can practice this consecutively. So anywhere from 1 to 3 times, you practice it consecutively, or you can practice this a few hours apart. Either way is totally fine. Trying to sit somewhere that you feel calm and focus. If you're distracted for more than 30 seconds, then please start again. Remember to, as I've said, sit somewhere that helps you to be calm, and don't sit right in front of a fan or an aircon, because you might not feel the warmth of energy very clearly when the air is blown right at you. And that could also be very distracting when there's noises. Now, because this formula will be practiced for 5 minutes and 30 seconds, during the practice, if you cough or if you sneeze, just carry on, okay? That's not an issue. And participants who are unwell, you can sit or you can lie down, however makes you feel comfortable during the practice. Okay, so I will now go through this formula with you. Oh, actually, I need to mention that early on when you received the activation just now, if you feel like your forehead, it's really tense or like slightly tense, and you would like to alleviate that, then there's a techniques that we can do. So you breathe in through your nose for 3 seconds, and then you breathe out through your mouth for 6 seconds. And you do that 3 times, okay? And same thing, after you practice this formula, after we practice this formula together, if you feel somehow that your forehead is really tense, if you perhaps feel a little, have like a mild headache or something like that, then you can use that breathing techniques to alleviate those feelings. And when you practice, make sure that you open your eyes. Okay, and I understand that some of you find it easier to focus when you close your eyes, but we will explain about this as you continue with a high class level. But for now, please do so as we instruct you. Keep your eyes open throughout the practice duration. And just so we're aware, is that while you keep your eyes open, the instructor eyes will be closed. And also the reasons for that will be explained as you get higher. So you can see here, we'll go through this a little bit. Okay, so this first formula is what we will be using. And this is the formula that you will be practicing from today until tomorrow, before we proceed with session 2 of level 1. So as you sit here, when you practice, keep your eyes open, direct energy accordingly. And the practice duration, it's according to your age, because this is a formula that you will be practicing for yourself. So it is according to your age. For example, people above 18 years old practice for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So you can see here, if you have children joining this with you and they have received the activation that I sent out just now, then accordingly, children from 8 to 12 years old, the time would be 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 13 to 18 years old, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And then people above 18 years old, that will be 5 minutes and 30 seconds each time that you practice. Okay, not in total. Each time that you practice, you press the timer and you go from step 1 all the way to step 4. So I'll read it out now so that I can explain to you a little bit. So step 1, as soon as you press the timer, okay, let's say you practice for 5 minutes and 30 seconds because you're above 18, you press the timer and you would go through step 1, receive cosmic divide light new era energy level 1 frequency band, brain cell activation frequency. And you recite that silently once. Now imagine this step 1 like a command. Okay, so this is the things that you want to do. Okay, so you give out the commands very clear. And when it says recite silently once, it means that you think this in your head. You don't need to whisper. You don't need to say it out loud. You just, say it in your head. And then once you got that done, you move on to step 2, receive energy into the brain. Okay, that is basically the things that you should be reciting, as well as the instruction for you. So in step 2, after you give the command, which is nice and clear, then you start to receive energy into the brain. And so you will think in your head, receive energy into the brain, receive first time, receive second time, and receive third time. So, and once again, if you ask, why is it first time, second time, and third time? Well, that's because this is the formula, okay? When it comes to formula, please apply it accordingly. Now, please note that when you receive first, second, and third time, there will be 3 to 5 seconds each time. So don't go receive first time, receive second time, receive third time. That's too fast. So instead, go receive first time, receive second time, receive third time. So something like that, okay, would be more accurate to the formula. And then after that, you go to step 3. So in step 2, you already receive energy into the brain. Okay, so here you see this arrow here, you receive it into the brain here. And then in step 3, you send energy from the brain into the ERC. Now the ERC, it's the energy reception center, and it is right here. That circle where the arrow is pointed at, okay? And we abbreviate it to ERC. So this is a term that you will be seeing a lot when you're in NLG, particularly at these level. So make yourself very comfortable and remember these terms. So step 3, send energy from the brain into the ERC. So remember how you already receive energy into your brain here in step 2. Then in step 3, you send it. Okay, you send it from the brain to the ERC. Once again, you would say send first time, send second time, send third time. And once again, it will be 3 to 5 seconds each time. And by the way, in step 2, when you receive energy into the brain, that is, you visualize energy from outer space entering the brain. Okay. Then the last step, step 4, continuously direct energy into the brain and transmit it into the ERC. Let the warmth of energy spread on its own until the time it's up. So step 4, when it says continuously direct energy, it means just that. So in step 4, that's where you will devote most of your time in the 5 minutes and 30 seconds and other times accordingly to step 4, because that's when you will keep this energy here and you continuously direct it into the brain, right? You continuously direct it into the brain and you transmit it into the ERC. So you would do that continuously until your timer rings. Okay, so I hope that has been nice and clear explanation for everyone. And now let's practice this formula together, okay? I will set the timer. So I assume that most people here are above 18 years old, so I should set the timer to 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And if you happen to learn this or attend this with your kids, and if they're under 18, then please set a separate timer for them. Okay, but I will just set my timer to 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And I will put this formula, I'll keep it here on the screen so that you can follow. But then at the same time, I will play an audio, which is the instruction for you. And so you can just follow the audio in your head while you have the formula on the screen here. Okay, so let's do this together. Let's practice this together, everyone. I set my timer and I will temporarily, I'll just turn off my video so that it doesn't block anything on the formula here. And okay, so now I will play the audio and you have the formula on the screen. So let's do this together. Okay. This is practice session to receive Cosmic Divine Light New Era NLG Level 1 frequency band, brain cell activation frequency for those who are above 18 years old. The timer is set to 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's begin. Step 1. Recite silently once. Receive Cosmic Divine Light New Era NLG Level 1 frequency band, brain cell activation frequency. Step 2. Receive energy into the brain 3 times. Receive first time. Receive second time. Receive third time. Step 3. Send energy from the brain into the ERC 3 times. Send first time. Send second time. Send third time. Step 4. Continuously direct energy into the brain and transmit it into the ERC. Let the warmth of energy spread on its own until alarm rings. Okay, everyone. So we have just finished practicing the brain cells activation frequency together. And I hope that you will continue to practice this formula from now until tomorrow's class. And I will now show you, actually, before we wrap this up, because it's nearly time now, I do have a few important notes for everyone. So after I share with you this information, those of you who don't have any questions, you can just leave. You can just turn off this live stream. But those of you who do have question, then you can stay and you put it in the question in the chat box. And we'll see how it goes for time. But if those of you who don't have any question, then you can just leave after this announcement. Okay, and so the things I really like to share with you, it's our QR code, because you will need this to get access to the formula that you saw just now to practice it from today until tomorrow. So here you can see, and I'll leave this on for quite a bit for you to scan. So the first one is the QR code for NLG notification English channel. So that where you will receive, the general announcement, any announcements from us. And then we have the NLG level 1 and 2 English chat group. That's where you can actually ask question. You can, interact with your fellow NLG level 1 and 2 practitioners. And the third one, it's our level 1 and 2 English channel. Okay, so you have a channel, and basically that is managed by our admin, meaning that you can't really post anything on there. So that's why we feel the need that to have an interactive space, and we create the chat groups. So you can ask questions about your practice, about NLG, about anything that you are concerned with or are interested to explore, and we'll be very happy to assist you there. Okay, that is a way for us to keep in touch after these online classes. So I'll continue to leave this on so that everyone can see. And meanwhile, if you do have any question, then you can go ahead and put it in the chat box. Okay. I'll see if there's any question here. Okay, apparently I'm checking now to see if anyone have any question for me. And I'll continue to leave this this live stream on, of course. Sorry, not this live stream, this QR code. So you can scan it. Okay, so apparently I don't see any question here right now. Maybe this is the first class and everyone's trying to, process this information, the things that I just share with you, which is also a great start. Okay. And all right, if you don't have any question, then I guess we can, you're free to go now, and remember to practice the brain cells activation formula by yourself before day 2 tomorrow. That's actually your homework for today, so don't forget. And it is essential that you practice this formula, because as soon as we start day 2 of level 1, we will no longer use this formula. So this formula gives you a bit of a practice, getting used to energy formula and how to direct energy. And remember that once you participate in level 1 energy, you can still receive healing support from Mr. Lee on a daily basis, because the healing energy that he transmits is suitable for all class levels. Now, while you're doing this, or when you practice, if you feel sleepy or you feel extremely warm or even hot, then that means that you're lacking in energy. And so the way that you resolve that is that you can keep practicing. And if you're too sleepy, it could also be that you didn't have enough sleep for the day. So remember, the first forms of love, take good care of yourself. And if you haven't registered, or you've completed these first sessions already and now you want to register, then that's fine. All right. So I guess now that we don't have any question from anyone, I'll just double check. Okay. So we will wrap this up now. Thank you everyone for participating. On behalf of all participants today, I'd like to say thank you to our energy founder, Mr. Phúc Lê. A huge thank you to those who worked tirelessly to make this program work. And I will see you tomorrow in day 2 of level 1. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Remember to join us on Telegram, because I will post the formulas on there for you to practice. Okay, thank you everyone very much, and I'll see you tomorrow.